So today I'm going to be giving you 5 stress busters. Now stress, we hear this word all the time. It's really become just a reality of our day-to-day lives. We all have stress, presents itself in many different ways in the modern world. So what is stress though? So for a definition, stress really is anything that produces an emotional, physical, or intellectual response to an actual or perceived threat. So it might not actually be something that's happening to you, and particularly in our modern world, it's more things that are threats that we think might happen. And this is sort of where a lot of anxiety conditions reside, is thinking about the future and what might actually happen in the future, and that we get a lot of stress from those things. So in this video today, I'm going to talk about 5 different ways that you can bust stress from your life. And these are probably going to be things that you may not have come across before. They're a bit modern, some of them are a bit unique, and I think they're really exciting because there's a science backing to all of them. So the 5 things I'm going to be talking about in this video to bust your stress is number 1, float therapy or float tanks, which is also sensory deprivation therapy. The second one is the role of the parasympathetic nervous system. So this is our nervous system that is the polar opposite to our sympathetic nervous system, which is our stress nervous system. And specifically, I'll be talking about breath work. Thirdly, infrared saunas. Good video coming up for that. And number 4 is yoga nidra. And number 5 finally is binaural beats. So we'll be going through all of those things step by step. The very first thing though, as mentioned, is float tanks and float therapy. So this was something I really wanted to try for quite a long time myself, and finally got around to it. Really the motivation was to be able to film this little video for you guys so that I could actually help and serve you as well. So thanks for a great excuse. I finally got myself off to a float tank, and the reason that I wanted to try float therapy was there's been a lot of scientific evidence around the powers of floating the body in a medium that is dense. So you don't have to put any effort into the float. There's actually over 300 kilograms of magnesium salt in the water that has been dissolved. So that amount of density supports your body weight regardless of what you weigh. So you're actually only floating in about 30 centimeters of water, and you're inside a tank, so it's actually quite dark, and there's sometimes music played, sometimes it's silent. It just depends what you're really aiming to achieve. Both options are fine, and you can float for a various amount of time. It's usually good to sort of start with something a little bit shorter in the beginning, so maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour if it's your first time floating. And the float experience that I had, you will see very shortly. I filmed a little segment in the float tank area after I'd finished my float session. But I found it profoundly relaxing, and it did occur to me, I'm a regular meditator. I actually myself do Vedic meditation every day. That's the technique that resonates with me and that has supercharged my life really well. And in that tank, I really got the impression once I came out that this is a really great substitute for meditation. I hate saying that, but I know there's a lot of people out there that just don't feel meditation is for them. They may have a mental block about it. They just don't think that they're a good meditator. And I suggest you give this float tank thing a go, because it really gets you into a meditative state. It's profoundly calming, and really your mind is really able to transcend the stress and even the presence of being in your physical body. The way the floating works with the temperature control and the density of the water and the effortlessness of the body sitting in the water is you basically lose any perception of where your body begins and ends. So it's a little bit trippy, but it allows the mind to settle in a profoundly beautiful and relaxing way, and you will emerge feeling amazing. So take a little look now at my little video after my float experience. So I've just finished a float session. I'm speaking really quietly because I'm inside the float room still. What a profoundly relaxing experience. Phenomenal for insomnia, stress, fatigue, just an all-round nourishment for the nervous system. Amazing stress busting. Number 2 is the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, what on earth am I talking about? So when you are in the state of your parasympathetic nervous system, you are in a calm state. They are just together at the same time. The sympathetic nervous system is switched on when you are in fight or flight, when you're stressed, when you're anxious, when you're in your sort of busy monkey mind. The parasympathetic nervous system is the opposite. So they are both important, definitely both relevant, definitely both key to survival. You don't have both of them on at the same time, however. It is one or the other. And unfortunately, if you're existing in the sympathetic nervous system for 90% of your time, then you're only existing in the parasympathetic nervous system for 10% of your time. And it's really not a sustainable way to be. We need time in the parasympathetic nervous system for rest, for digestion, for procreation. They're really, really key aspects of what we need to be able to do as human beings in order to survive. So the parasympathetic nervous system, how do I get there? That's the key question, because when you're in a world that is wired to be in the sympathetic nervous system, where we're doing and rushing and there's not enough hours in the day, how do you get to the parasympathetic nervous system? Now, the easiest, quickest, virtually most instant way that is available to you in all moments is your own breath. It really is that simple. There is such power in stopping and breathing to a reasonable depth and a slow pace that will just reconnect yourself into a parasympathetic or calming nervous system area. So I have already done a video on my channel here, The Whole Doctor, probably a couple of weeks ago or a few weeks ago now, that I'm going to link in. And this is a really, really beautiful, simple breathing exercise that you can do. You can really do it at any time. You can do it while you're sitting in your car in traffic. You can do it while you're standing in the line at the supermarket. You can do it while you're cooking dinner. You can do it when your kids are screaming at you from the back seat. Like, there is really no bad time to do this, and it works so quickly and so powerfully. As I mentioned in the video though, do watch it. The key is to ensure that your exhale breath, your breath out, is a little longer than your inhale. That's the key and the trick. So at any time in your day, get hold of that power in your breath to send you straight back to the parasympathetic nervous system. That's my tip number 2. Just shooting another cheeky video. This time I'm in a infrared sauna. So the lighting is probably really, really poor, but that's because there is just infrared lighting in here and very little else. And I'm whispering because I'm at a day spa. I probably shouldn't have my phone in here, but this is all for the good of everybody out there, for your education. So infrared sauna is a fantastic modality for a whole range of health benefits. One of those is stress busting. But other things that you benefit from in an infrared sauna are weight loss, relaxation, and detoxification. So why an infrared sauna compared to a sort of traditional wet sauna or a Finnish or Swedish style sauna? The temperature is not as high, so you can actually stay in the sauna for a longer period of time, more like 20 minutes, half an hour, whereas more of a wet sauna, maybe 10 minutes tops. The wet saunas are also potentially quite unhealthy in the sense of bacterial, fungal and mold overgrowth in those environments, where an infrared is a dry form of sauna, so much more sanitary, particularly if you're using them obviously in a day spa kind of environment. Now, what is infrared? It's basically the waveform of light, and really high quality infrared saunas have the 3 different wavelengths of infrared light. The light is able to penetrate the cells to allow the cells to actually be heated. It's like an internal heat rather than an external heat, warming your body from the inside out. There is a thermogenic effect, so you will actually burn calories sitting in an infrared sauna, but it is also profoundly relaxing and a really lovely treatment to give yourself to aid detoxification, rest and repair, reduce your sympathetic nervous system, and it's a nice one to follow with a massage afterwards if you do have time. But it's a fantastic treatment that only takes 20 or 30 minutes and very little else. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of my infrared sauna time, and you can watch the next tip. Number 4 of my 5 stress busting techniques is Yoga Nidra. What is this? So Yoga Nidra, also known as yogic sleep. Now you're more interested. So it doesn't require you to do a physical yoga practice at all. Yoga Nidra is an ancient technique which brings the brain into a framework where it's unconsciously listening. So it's a relaxation exercise where you are guided, so you are listening to someone's voice and they are guiding you through a Yoga Nidra exercise, for want of a better word. Now, I teach Yoga Nidra every week at the end of my yin classes because it is a magic technique. It really requires no effort. You actually can't do it incorrectly. That's how good it is. So it is a guided talking practice that you simply lay down, get yourself comfortable, pop an eye pillow on, and you listen to. If you fall asleep, that's okay. If you stay awake, that's okay. It will work regardless of your perception of how it's going. Now, one thing that I've really enjoyed about making this particular video is there are some free things in this video. You don't have to pay to do a Yoga Nidra. You can get a recording off the internet for free. You can also do your breathing for free. So you don't have to come up with a lot of money to pay for some of these things, like maybe an infrared sauna or a float tank. You know, if you don't have the money for that, there's techniques in this video that are available to you. So have a look around in your local area, see if there is a Yoga Nidra class offered, and go and give it a go. You will not regret it. And if not, find one online and give it a try. It works profoundly well, and it's something very, very simple that you can do. The yogis came up with this because they didn't actually require that much sleep because of their yogi lifestyle. So that's where the techniques actually come from. So I'm actually looking forward to presenting a little bit more about Yoga Nidra in the coming months, because I myself will be doing some extra training this coming May. So I look forward to exploring this a little bit further in my videos on my channel. Next tip coming right up. Number 5 in the ultimate stress buster list for me is the binaural beats. So binaural beats are a relatively recent phenomenon that's a little bit more widely available. Essentially what they are is specialized soundtracks that use alternate frequencies of sound that are delivered into your left and right ear separately. So it's really, really important that you listen to them using headphones. There is a huge array of binaural beats out there, and there's actually a whole range of ways that you can use them, because it's using brainwave entrainment. So it's kind of exploiting the brainwave activity and literally causing your brain to function at a particular wavelength for whether it be sleep, relaxation, stimulation, getting into a flow state, getting creative. So with stress busting in mind, nap times are really, really useful, and the optimal nap time is about 30 minutes, and you can really use binaural beats to sort of supercharge that nap time. It basically allows the brain to get into a deep rested state very, very quickly. So these tracks are available quite broadly online. I personally really, really love to use the ones that Aubrey Marcus has actually devised and put together, and they are available for purchase online. So I'll put a little link in the video description to assist you guys with actually having a look at those. The reason I really like his is because they're all about 30 minutes long, which is actually an optimal time to be listening to binaural beats, particularly for a nap. And some of them on the internet are also just maybe a couple of minutes, which might not really be enough for stress busting purposes. So that's my final tip. I hope you enjoyed this series, getting some great options about how you can bust your stress, and I'm ready to kick off with my nap with my binaural beats right now. So we'll catch you on the next video.